Hi, I'm Karen Jacobsen, the GPS girl, and today on Navigating New York, our guest is the amazing artist Rachael Sage. Hi, Rachael.
Hello, Karen.
When I'm in New York. So tell us all about your relationship with New York City.
Well, I have loved New York City my entire life. I grew up studying at the School of American Ballet. So I was one of those little girls in the Nutcracker.
With the tutu?
I was a candy cane and a mouse.
Oh.
And then I had a tutu sometimes.
In the actual Nutcracker?
In the actual Nutcracker, yes. So that began my love affair with New York City because there's no more beautiful place than that theater, the State Theater. So it's been all uphill from there, but yet downtown. I grew up hanging out on the Upper West Side, and now I live in the East Village and play clubs on the Lower East Side. And my entire community is down here, all of the musicians that I know and that I collaborate with when I'm not on tour in the wider world. So it grounds me, and I just love the diversity and the vibrancy. And that I'm not the weirdest person on the block. I'm usually the most normal person on the block.
I want to know, is that what you love most, the diversity and the vibrancy of New York? Is that your favorite thing?
Without question, you are so psychic. It definitely is. And I'm also a visual artist as well as a musician and an actor. So I think when you do all of these different things, being in a place that continually feeds your inspiration and raises the bar with performances, you could see something every night of the year and you would never hit everything.
So where are you headed? What direction is Rachael Sage headed right now?
Well, I suppose in the proverbial sense, I'm having a bit of a Shabbat right now with my music. I'm indoors for the winter working on my 11th record. And it's a wonderful time to record because, first of all, it's freezing out. Not yet, but it will be. And there's just something about being able to put your ideas onto tape, or rather in Pro Tools. And, while the rest of the world is dealing with the holidays and things kind of slow down a bit in the music business, you're just kind of having that renewal. And then in 2014, I'll have a new album and I'll go back on the road to Europe and all across the United States. And that's where I am right now.
So tell us, and it could only happen in New York kind of story. The Nutcracker, of course, can only happen in New York.
That is true.
But tell us something that's happened that is just so New York.
Well, I love this story because it has nothing to do with, a big break or anything with career, but it really stands out as one of the most special days of my life in New York. As I mentioned, I'm a visual artist, and my all-time favorite idol in the world, and I have many, was Keith Haring. I just loved everything about his artwork. And one day, I was in the elevator on my way to my record label office, Empress Records, and I happened to be wearing a sweatshirt with his artwork on it. And I walked into my office where I also have all my paintings on the wall, and a lot of them are very clearly inspired by Keith Haring. And the FedEx guy came just to deliver us some packages. And he looked at my sweatshirt and he said, "Keith Haring." I said, "Yeah, I love him. He's my favorite." He said, "Me too. He was my buddy. We used to hang out. We went to Danceteria. We clubbed together. I want to show you something."
This is the FedEx guy.
This is the FedEx guy. And he came back an hour later with a rolled up, poster board. And Keith Haring was known for making so much art and giving it away and just being so generous with it. And he said, "What do you think of this?" And it was a silver ink on black poster board. And, I didn't know if it was real. I didn't really care if it was real. The FedEx guy wanted to sell me a supposedly real Keith Haring for $100 because he saw it on my sweatshirt and he saw it in my artwork, and we were having this moment and he was telling me stories about him and it sure seemed authentic. And I just said, "You bet."
I love this.
And I have that poster up on my wall, and I never really even wanted to know if it was the real thing or not, but it's artwork by my favorite artist. And I bonded with the FedEx guy. It was fabulous.
FedEx, they just deliver anything
They
one
really
day.
do.
They deliver. Oh, that's brilliant.
Right?
So being like Miss New York, basically. New York incarnate.
Thank you.
Can you give us a savvy New Yorker tip for somebody who might be visiting or someone who might live here? Something that, an insider tip about New York.
Absolutely. Well, my favorite bagel place is
I
on the
love
Lower
it.
East Side, and it's called Russ and Daughters. And you have to say it like that or the bagels don't taste as good. And you go to Russ and Daughters, and it's on Houston Street. And you take a number, and sometimes you have to wait. You might have to wait for half an hour. You might have to go take a stroll and come back. But the bottom line is they're the best bagels in the world. With any kind, they call it an appetizer store.
Oh.
And it's a family-run business, and the father ran it, now the daughters run it. They take care of you. They don't just feed you, they love you, they appreciate you. The herring is fantastic. I'm vegetarian now, but I vaguely remember it was amazing. And the bagels are to die for.
Russ and Daughters.
Russ and Daughters.
Russ and Daughters on the Lower East Side.
That's right.
Rachel, thank you for that
Yes.
awesome New York savvy tip.
My pleasure.
Rachel Sage, thank you for joining us on Navigating New York.
This was fun.
It was. I'm Karen Jacobsen, the GPS girl, and you have reached your destination. With the stars. Oh, you can almost touch the sky. It's in my heart, it's in my soul. When I'm in New York. This episode of Navigating New York is brought to you by Essence of Valley, natural products for health, beauty, and well-being. Visit essenceofvalley.com.